Hi, this is Karen with Karen's Cards and More, and I have a super fun card to show you today. This is a fun fold, and I started to play with a new set that I had gotten. I love the set. I want to show you the suite that I bought. Just a really cool set. You get a lot for your money, and it's just an amazing set. I am an independent demonstrator for Stampin Up, so the products that you see here today are Stampin Up products, and if you don't have a demonstrator and you'd like to order any of the beautiful items that you see today, you can hop on over to my blog, karenscardsandmore.com, and you'll be able to order everything from there. Let me show you this fun fold. This is a 4-panel card. So you have lots of room to decorate, lots of room to be creative. I really wanted to feature this designer series paper, and I'm going to show you that in a moment. But I also wanted to feature the stamp and die set. So lots of room to be creative. So let's talk about the suite that I mentioned. So in the mini catalog, this is January through April. And this is on page 15. This is what I would call a super suite. You get so much in this suite. It's called Fancy Flora. And you get 2 stamp sets, 2 die sets. And I love that these are tags that you can use for many projects over and over and over. This one's all sentiments. You get some specialty paper. This is a glitter paper, and there's soft succulent, fresh freesia, and gold. And I don't know if the sparkle is going to show up real good on camera, but it's absolutely gorgeous. And then this designer series paper is 6 by 6. So you get a bunch of it, but it is the smaller size, the 6 by 6. All kinds of abstract. I mean, it's just beautiful. The color combinations and the papers, really beautiful set. And then you also get some sequins, some gems, and some ribbon. Really cool set. I love it. This was my first project using the stamp set. I love the stamp set because you get to do, for each flower, you get to do a detail and then a background, so it really makes your flowers come alive. And we'll look at that in a moment. So that's the suite, Fancy Flora Suite. In addition, I said that we're going to feature some designer series paper, and this comes from, right now we are finishing up Celebration, which goes to the end of February. This is, if you place an order, a $50 order or more, one of the things that you could pick. This has all kinds of options, papers and stamp sets, but one of the options is this Dainty Flowers paper, and it's 12 by 12. And I'm going to show you. So like this is a very abstract watercolor look. And then the other side is some beautiful flowers. So we got those pretty greenery. Another abstract. I love these framelits. Just beautiful papers. And we're going to use a lot of these designs in our project today. So I wanted to make sure to show you that, and you can get it for free. So if you buy the Fancy Flora Suite, that's going to get you there to get this, and you can get it for free. So definitely worth checking out. Now let me show you the stamp set. So there's 2 stamp sets that come in this suite. This is the two-tone Flora, and I love these flowers. You have different sizes, and you've got a detail and then a solid. And I always stamp the detail first in my darker color, and then I come back and do my solid with my lighter color, and it just makes the most beautiful flowers. And there's a coordinating die set for it. And then there's also this really detailed background floral image that comes with it. Really nice set. And then this is the Something Fancy. This has a lot of different greetings. And then this is the one that has all the different tags. that you could use with those greetings. So those are the 2 stamp sets that we're going to use. Let's talk about our papers. We're going to do some scoring together. So let's talk about what we're going to need for that. I am using the Rich Razzleberry for my card base. And I'm starting with a piece that is 5.5 by 8.5. And we'll work on that together in just a moment. And then I need another piece. This is 6.25 by 4 3/4. And we're going to do some scoring on that as well. And then you're going to need some various pieces of designer series paper. So let me show you what I'm using. You'll need one piece that is 2.5 by 3 3/4. Actually, you'll need 2 of those. 2.5 by 3 3/4, and you don't need to write all these down. I will have them on my blog site so that you can get them there. So one's going to go on the outside, one's going to go on the outside, and one's going to go on the inside. The same way with this next size, you'll need 2 because you have this side and this side, and that is 3.25 by 4.5. So we're going to be using that and that. And then for our back panel, you need 1, and that's 4 by 5.25, and I'm using this beautiful pink. Okay, so that's all the papers that we're going to be using. You're also going to need a piece of this that has this framelit. We're not going to use the framelit as this is, but we're going to do some die cutting with a tag on that. And I'll show you that when we get to that, but you'll also need one of these. You'll need some basic white to do some stamping on. And so we're just going to jump right in and get started with our scoring. So let's start with our big size card base. I'm bringing in my trimmer. And we want to score on the long side. So we're going to score at 3/4 inch. And then we're going to score at 4 1/4. And that's going to have our the big piece of our card base ready. So now we've got our scoring in. We want to turn this so that the 3/4 inch is at the top, and we want to put this on 3/4 inch. We want to cut down to our 4 1/4 our 4 1/4 score line. And you will feel it when you hit that. You'll just feel a difference in it that you've gotten to the score line. Okay? And then we're just going to snip that off right on that score line. I'm just going to snip that off. Okay, and then on our 6 1/4 by 4 3/4, we're going to score on the long side at 2 3/4. And then we're going to turn this, and we're going to cut we're going to put it on 3/4, and we're going to cut down to, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to cut down to that fold line. And again, you'll feel when you hit that fold line, you'll just feel it. And then I'm going to cut this off. Okay, and those little scraps you won't need. You can use those on another project. Okay, so we want to go ahead and burnish our folds. So I'm just going to bring in you want your large piece on the right. And then this is going to fold in. And then you're going to have that 3/4 inch. This is going to get attached here. So that 3/4 strip is going to be on the back of this piece. Just like that. So you want to use a heavy adhesive for this. And I'm going to use tear and tape because it's strong. You could use liquid adhesive. You could use the Stampin' Seal Plus. I wouldn't recommend using the regular Stampin' Seal because you want to make sure this is something that's going to hold up well. So I'm just going to tear that off. And I'm just going to run 2 strips of it down because that's 3/4 inch and I have room. I'm just going to make double sure by running 2 strips. Okay. And I'm just going to rub this down. And then we just want to pull off the backing. Okay, now we're ready to attach this. I'm going to turn this like this so you can see what I'm doing. I just want to lay this, I'm laying it up against the fold, lining it up at the top of the bottom, putting it right up against that fold. And I'm not pressing down until I know that I've got it lined up. And that looks right. So then I'm going to lay it down and press. Just like that. And then we just want to accordion fold it. And by doing that the way we did it, and I'm just going to burnish these folds so we can make sure that we've got everything nice and folded. So the way because of the way we cut it and then turned it, these are all going to be evenly spaced. So you're going to have the same amount of space on all of these. And that's going to make your 4 panels. Okay? So then we will be able to put on our designer series paper. And we're going to go ahead and do that. And I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Seal. And I'm using this pink design for the large one, for the back of the big piece. Okay. And I'm just going to line that up. Press that down. And then you can play with your pieces to see how you want to put them. I'm going to do mine like this, these two, this size, and I'm going to move this around a little bit to see which I like. Now, something to consider, on this panel, we're going to be doing a little bit of stamping, and we want to do the happy birthday. So this dark spot may mean that I put my happy birthday up higher, or I may want to turn it if I want to put the happy birthday more down in here. So that just takes a little thought. How do I want the happy birthday? And I think I want it to go this way. So it's just something to consider when you're putting this on there so that your overall design works. Okay, so I'm going to bring this in and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to try to center that and attach it down. And again, the same size piece. You could use the liquid glue for this as well, if you wanted to. There's that. And then we have this inside piece and then the outside piece. So we're going to attach those as well. Same process that we've been doing. This card actually looks more difficult than it is, but wow. I mean, it's just a wow card. I love fun folds anyway, and this one is just super, super, super cool. Okay, so I'm just going to try to center that up. Put that down, and then we're ready to put our piece on the front. I'm just going to center that down. Okay, so let's take a look. There we have the base of our card. Isn't that beautiful? I mean, the papers alone make a beautiful card before you do anything else to it. And you could decorate it as much as you wanted or as sparse as you want it. That's totally up to you. So let's do some stamping and get the components for each layer. So for the front, we want a couple flowers and a couple leaves and then this tag piece, okay? And I'm just going to bring in some of the basic white that we're going to do the stamping on. And because these are polymer, I want to bring in my foam mat to put underneath. And so we're using 2 size flowers. So here's this size, which is a medium actually in the set. And then we're using the smaller. And here's the center for it. Yes, that's the center for it. Okay, and so for the inks, I'm using the Rich Razzleberry and the Blushing Bright. Now, I think it's easier to line these are really pretty easy to line up. But I think it's easier to line up if you do your detail image first and then your lighter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start just that way. I'm going to start with my Rich Razzleberry. And we're also going to need these 2 other flowers for the next panel. So we're just going to go ahead and stamp all of our flowers at once. And you can tell which one goes to which by the centers. And we're going to talk about that when we go to layer these. So I'm going to bring all my detail ones in. I'm going to move all my solid pieces. These are all my detail ones that I need in the Rich Razzleberry. So we're going to start with that. And I'm just going to stamp these down. These make such beautiful flowers. And the possibilities are just endless with what you can do. Okay, so that's got all of our detail and doesn't look like much right now. You're probably looking at that thinking, how is that going to be a flower? Just hang with me. So now we're going to use the Blushing Bride. I'm going to move the detail ones out of the way. And I'm going to come in with the solid ones. Okay, we're going to start with the little one. I'm going to ink it up. Now the way you can line it up is the middle. So this one has like a 3-pronged thing in the middle. And you can line that up with the detail. Make sure that goes in the middle. Make sure it's lined up. And then just stamp down. Just like that. And then we're going to do the next one the same way. It has little holes in the middle. Little dots in the middle. And we're just going to line those dots up. And stamp that down. Just like that. And then we're going to do the next one. And if you have them on your blocks and you say, oh no, which solid goes with which one, just look at the middle. And I can line this up to this middle. And just stamp that down. And then I'm going to ink up this last one. And again, I'm going to line the middle up, those little stamens or whatever you call them. It's much easier to do when you're trying not to keep your head out of the camera. I can tell you that. Okay, so we've got all of our flowers. Aren't those gorgeous? I just love the way the flowers turn out on here. Then we're going to need 2 of these little leaves, and I'm using Old Olive. So I'm just going to stamp 2 of those. Okay. And then there's these sprigs, and we're going to use 2 of those. And again, I'm using the Old Olive. And I'm going to bring in another scrap of basic white. So I'm going to do another sprig. Okay. And then let's see what else we need. So we've got our 2 little flowers. We've got those flowers. We got the big flowers. We got the 2 sprigs. So we need to do this piece. We need to do some stamping in black. So we're done with this. So this, You Matter to So Many. And I'm going to stamp this on here, and then we're going to run it through with the tag. So in the Something Fancy, we're using the smallest of this one in the middle here to cut this out. So I'm just going to go ahead and stamp it. Okay, so we're ready to cut that out. Now for the happy birthday, that is going to go directly on the Designer Series paper. And let me tell you what I found with the happy birthday. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's the little strip. It's easy to get that crooked. So I lay it down. I just lay it down on my desk, and then I put my block on top of it to try to make sure that I'm not bending it in any way. Okay? And I'm going to bring in my card. And we're going to stamp directly on this piece. Try to get this straight. Okay. And then we need to die cut our next piece before we stamp on it. So let me bring in this oval, and I used the smallest of these with the scallops on the top, and I ran this through. I decided how much of this flower, this oval, that I wanted in my tag, and I ran it through my die cut machine like that, so that I would have the piece that I was going to put in the middle. And so this is what I ended up with when I took it out. This is the piece I have. So then I'm going to come in with this, May the Good You Do Come Back to You. So we're going to stamp that with the black right on there. Okay, and I'm just going to stamp this, and I don't need this foam mat because this is a rubber stamp. And I'm just going to stamp this in the middle of this tag. I'm just holding it down a little. There we go. And so the only stamping that we have left, I have one more little bit of colored stamping that I forgot. We're going to use the Blushing Bride. And just to give a little more design, just to give a little more to it, this piece with the happy birthday, there's these little little flower petals that are a stamp in the set. And we're just going to randomly stamp these down on this. And there is absolutely no right or wrong to this. I'm just adding, can't even see that one in the middle of the blue. I'm just adding some flavor to my piece. And I'm being totally random, totally okay? Just total random, just adding a little bit to that piece. Okay, now we're ready to put everything together. So all the pieces that we stamped, we're gonna need to die cut, and I have them already die cut for us. So we're going to be able to start putting things together. So let's go ahead and start with the front. And so we're gonna need this You Matter to So Many. Now, I did not use any dimensionals when putting this together. And the reason I didn't is I felt like if you were gonna mail this, there was already a lot of bulk here. So I did not use dimensionals. You could definitely do that if you were hand delivering it to someone and you wanted to lift these off the card a little bit, you could definitely use dimensionals. I chose not to just because mine is going in the mail. So I know that I want to center this, but I also want to fit these flowers on here. So I'm going to use this medium-sized flower, and I'm going to use this little flower. And I always like to just lay them on here and see what I'm doing before I do it. And sometimes I don't put them in the same place as I did at another time. It's just whatever I eyeball and whatever looks good to me at the time. So let me find both of my leaves. Okay. All right. So you can kind of play with this. I'm going to go ahead and put my tag down because I know that that's going to be centered. I know that that's the first thing. And I'm going to just use liquid glue for these, putting these little things down. So I'm just putting a little bit of liquid glue on there. And I just want to center this. Just like that. And I know that this flower is going to go somewhere here with a leaf, something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of glue on the bottom of this leaf. And I'm going to attach it to the back of my flower. I'm just holding it there to get it to start sticking. And then I'm going to glue this down. So I'm just going to add some liquid glue. You could use dimensionals, you could use glue dots. Whatever your preference. I know I don't want to cover up my writing. So just like that. Now I know on my little flower, I want the petals to come off of the left. So the big flower, or the medium-sized flower that we used, we put them off the right. The other one, we want to go off the left. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the bottom of this. And I'm just going to hold that for a moment. And so this is going to go down in here. And I'm going to guess every one you do will be a little bit different because you're not going to put it in the exact same place every time. And that's okay. I'm just going to press that down. Okay, we have the front panel done. Now this is the only panel that I didn't put anything on. So the next panel that we're going to do is here. Now we're going to use both of our sprigs. And we're going to use our two larger flowers for this. Now, if you'll notice, I had my sprigs, this one comes off the edge of this piece completely, and this one, so when this is folded, you see these leaves sticking out, and I was okay with that. That was part of my design. I wanted it to do that. If you don't like that, you could definitely cut part of this off. You could push it further behind the flowers, whatever you need to do to make it what you want it to be. I liked the way this stuck out. It kind of is like a teaser that there's more to come. So I was perfectly fine with that. So just consider that when you're putting these on. And so I'm just going to put some glue on the back of this. And I think I'm going to put it about like that. Adding my glue. And I know I want this to come something like this. Just like that. And I knew I wanted my flowers hidden behind this layer. So I'm just going to add some glue on here. And I'm going to close this so I can see where the edge comes out. So I know that the middle of this leaf right here is where my cardstock comes to. So I know this has got to stay inside of that to be hidden. So I'm just going to lay that down. Now that should have it hidden. Yeah, just like that. I didn't want my flower to show, but I didn't mind my leaves showing. Okay, so then I'm going to put some liquid glue on the back of the other big flower. And then I know that I don't want this to go into the fold. So I'm just pressing that down. And that's got that one done. We already did our stamping on that one. So now we're ready to put our tag in the middle of the back. So again, I'm just going to put some liquid glue. And I'm going to center this. And I have some of these brilliant brass butterflies that came with another collection. They're still in the catalog. You can still get these. And I'm going to use one of the larger ones. And I'm going to use two of the smaller ones. Just to dress it up. Press those down, make sure they're down good. Now let's close up our 4-panel fun fold, and this is what we have. So, you mattered to so many. And this could easily set standing up to be displayed. If somebody wanted to display it on their mantle or on their table, it could easily set up for that. But you still have this beautiful 4-panel card. I hope you'll give this a try. I hope you'll experiment with different designer series papers and different stamp sets. I just encourage you, if you do not have this 2-tone Flora stamp set, you definitely want to consider it because the flowers are just really beautiful. Be sure to check out my blog, karenscardsandmore.com. I have a Facebook group, a Facebook page. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, consider subscribing. That helps me out, helps my viewership go up, gets my videos out there. Hit the notification bell. You'll be notified every time I upload a video. And I hope you've enjoyed this, and I will be back with you to craft again soon.